G'day guys and gal, Warhammer is deeper than a hooker's asshole. There are thousands of fleshed out characters from hundreds of sub-factions within numerous other factions, which means two things. Firstly, my job has a lot of longevity, and secondly, there are a lot of incredible characters you probably haven't even heard of. For the World Eaters, how many of you genuinely know World Eaters beyond Kharn or Angron? The World Eaters aren't just tragic because of Angron and Kharn, they were full of incredibly interesting, sophisticated characters with deep senses of honor and nobility that clash with their bloodlust and their twisted loyalties. The tragedy of the World Eaters wasn't that they had nails in their brain, it was that every awesome World Eater character was either killed or driven to become a slobbering berserk mess with no personality. So to honor the men they once were, I wanted to go over 5 incredible World Eater characters that don't include Kharn or Angron. Before we get started, I'm actually giving away over $1,000 worth of World Eaters this coming Sunday via Dice Dioramas. We also have an incredible diorama launching on Sunday, but in the meantime, there is still time to join Dice for your chance to take home Angron, Kharn, Berserkers, a Lord of Skulls, and much more. For your chance to win, either join one of 6 membership tiers, which nets you a ton of other benefits, or you can just get a one-time purchase, no lock-in membership boost. To cream the pie even further, from now until the winners are drawn, because yes, we are doing multiple prizes for various winners, all membership boost nets you triple entries. So a silver boost will net you 60 extra entries instead of 20, and so on. We have given away over $50,000 worth of Warhammer and dioramas, and we're keen to keep doing so. For those wondering, I have reinvested every single dollar we have gotten through Dice back into the business, either the cost of building the dioramas, or the cost of the Warhammer given away, or just all the lovely random expenses that come with running a business. Dice was never designed for profit, and it has never generated any. It was a way for me to be able to fulfill my dreams of building dioramas without just nuking all my time and money. The fact we can give them away to you guys is amazing. So to support Dice, enter into this World Eater giveaway and allow us to keep giving away more stuff. Remember, triple entries on the boost until the giveaway, the boosts stack with themselves as well as your membership. During the Sunday giveaway live stream, we'll also be giving away Warhammer Live, so you need to be in this stream for your chance to take some of those home as well. Today we'll go over 5 of the most underrated World Eaters, the ones who don't get enough appreciation. I won't be ranking them in order of awesomeness because they are all dope as hell, and I will also share what their ultimate fate was. Let's get into it. Let's kick it off with Kargos, a legendary pit fighter of the World Eater Legion and the sworn brother of Nasir Amit, founder of the Flesh Terrors and arguably the most terrifying Blood Angel to ever exist. Kharn really liked Kargos, inducting him into his own command squad. See, Kargos was a legendary warrior, one of the best gladiators of the entire Legion, and he got the nickname Blood Spitter for his habit of spitting blood. I didn't say the World Eaters were the most witty Legion. Kargos balanced out his rage with a good sense of humor. They would even help other World Eaters calm down. See, World Eaters didn't actually like the nails. In combat they were solid, but in day-to-day life they were a fucking nightmare, so anything to help calm them down was appreciated. Funnily enough, Kargos was also an apothecary. During the heresy, he attracted the attention of Kharn, who slowly empowered Kargos. He was the one who saved the wounded Kharn after the Isfahan atrocity, and he was even the one who discovered Kharn's corpse during the Siege of Terra and took up Kharn's chain axe as his own. He was a menace on the battlefield. We have chapter after chapter of him slaughtering loyalists, all the while getting gassed up by a wordbearer chaplain and having Kharn himself in his ear. That was until he faced Nasir Amit, his old blood brother. Amit brutalized Kargos and said the now infamous line, "Eat shit, traitor." Kargos would survive this, barely, and then come face to face with Amit once again, only to once again lose and be told to once again eat shit. This would have been a pretty good way for him to die, narrative-wise, however Kargos would again survive. The persistent bastard, escaping Terra and creating his own warband, even becoming a champion of Kharn. He is likely still leading that warband, although he hasn't been mentioned in the lore for quite a long time. This next one is incredibly tragic. Legion Master Lork. He was the first Legion Master of the World Eaters, a title given to Space Marines who commanded their legions before the rediscovery of their Primarchs. He was also the first ever World Eater Dreadnought, giving up his role as Legion Master 30 years before the discovery of Angron, as Dreadnoughts do not make for practical Legion Masters. Lork was a paragon of nobility. When the World Eaters had a mini civil war due to the Butcher's nails, he chose to fight on the side that was against the nails, but when that side lost, he bent the knee to Kharn and fell in line. However, as a Dreadnought, he was not given the nails, making the Legion's Librarians and Dreadnoughts the only World Eaters exempt from the curse. Lork and many other World Eater Dreadnoughts would be put into sleep and missed the start of the heresy, so they didn't even know they were traitors. Lotara was forced to awaken them when the Conqueror was boarded by Ultramarines, and the World Eaters that were supposed to protect it got too bloodlusted and left the ship to fight on the world. She had to quickly and awkwardly explain that they were now traitors and had to kill the Ultramarines. Lork wasn't super impressed by this revelation, but he was extremely loyal to his Legion and Primarch, and he just sort of accepted it, repelling the Ultramarines. However, Lork was horrified at the state of the Legion. When Lorgar began turning Angron into a demon, Lork and the Legion's Librarians librarians had had enough. He attacked Lor physically whilst the librarians assaulted Lorgar psychically. However, Lorgar was too powerful to be stopped, and Angron ascended. His first act was to kill Lork and then butcher the Legion's librarians, ensuring that no World Eater alive would be free of the butcher's nails. Lork was a man torn between doing what was right and being loyal to his Legion, and that ended up killing him. Leading on from that, I want to now talk about Delvarus. Delvarus was the undisputed champion of the gladiator pits. He was extremely arrogant and bloodthirsty. He was also given the honor as guardian of the conqueror, which meant that he was supposed to stay on board at all times and repel boarders or invaders. However, he spurred this honor by going down to the surface of a world mid-battle, thus creating the situation where Lotara had to wake up Lork. Delvarus is the World Eater Lotara shot in the face when he returned in that now famous scene, cementing herself as a badass. In return, Delvarus returned fire and tried to kill Lotara, shocking her. She only lived because a World Eater librarian stopped the bolt shells, the same librarian Angron would kill later. Delvarus was sent to his room, but that isn't where the humiliation would end. When he next was in the gladiator pits, the World Eater Legion wished to punish him for what he tried to do to Lotara. They sent gladiator after gladiator to wear him down, his sense of honor not allowing him to submit. He was worn down and beaten to a pulp, before being humiliated by Kharn, who challenged him to a fight to the death, and then shamed him by showing him mercy when he was beaten. This actually would work. Delvarus was humbled and maintained his duty and honor, never once again abandoning his post. Now, as this is a tragic video, Delvarus would not get a good ending. His humbling wouldn't last long, as he would allow a demon to enter him and turn him into a possessed marine. He would actually survive the heresy, however would then be killed by a Death Guard champion during the Legion Wars. He was a character with a lot of potential, but arrogance and corruption led him to being relegated to the side. This next World Eater isn't as flashy or as important as the others, but he did actually come up with the Legion's new name when they went from Warhounds to World Eaters. Angron used to call his gladiator brothers and sisters the Eater of Cities. When he started leading the Legion, the World Eater Drago was like, "Yo, what's up, my Primarch? You used to have the Eater of Cities. We will be the Eater of Worlds." And Angron was like, "Damn, Shardy, I like that." Thus the Legion was renamed. Drago didn't really do much during the heresy of note, but he would survive the Siege of Terror and would even be one of the World Eaters responsible for recovering Kharn's corpse, which turned out to actually be alive, as Kharn wasn't done with his favorite plaything. Drago thought the direction of the Legion and their worship of Kharn was retarded. He was one of the few World Eaters who maintained his original blue and white armor, refusing to repaint it into red. It's World Eaters like Drago that explain why the Legion still exist. See, post-heresy, the World Eaters just want to fight and kill all the time. They already lost so many during the siege due to their hyper-aggressive style of warfare, but post-siege it was even worse. They would slaughter each other in the gladiator pits, and nobody wanted to be an apothecary anymore. So Drago banned gladiator fights on board his ship, and even trained mortal humans on how to perform apothecary duties, so gene seed could still be harvested and implanted. It's cool to see that GW actually acknowledges the issue with the World Eaters and their numbers. Their battle tactics incur massive casualties, and they have shit logistics, so would struggle to replenish, so characters like Drago are essential. When Kharn returned to life, Drago begged him to take command of the Legion. Kharn didn't really want to though, but they still had a jolly good time killing some Emperor's children, with that being the last we've seen of Drago in the lore. Hopefully he's still alive though. It would at least half explain why the World Eaters still exist in sizable number. And last but certainly not least, we have Cossalax. World Eaters don't really like being leaders. That requires planning, thoughts, and logistics, as well as a general lack of fighting. They would much prefer to just kill shit and jerk off and stuff. However, Cossalax was a born leader and had no greater ambition than to become the new Legion Master. However, he came from humble beginnings. During the heresy, he was a pretty basic line trooper, getting fought off and wounded early in the Siege of Terror. As such, he was able to escape off-world. Now, Cossalax was a very practical man. He thought Kharn was a fucking retard for attacking the Emperor's children, as the result of that was the shattering of the World Eater Legion. He also saw Angron as a dipshit who couldn't run a kindergarten even if there were high doses of ketamine in the drinking water. He formed his own mighty warband for a time, known as the Forsworn, which was mostly made up of mortal soldiers trained to be disciplined. He would join Angron during the First War for Armageddon, which ended up with him getting command of the Conqueror when Angron was banished. With the Conqueror under his command, Angron missing, and Kharn being busy killing everyone and everything, Cossalax was the only World Eater who had any form of claim or potential to lead the World Eaters. In the current setting, he declared himself Lord Regent of the World Eaters, amassing a massive army and fancying himself Legion Master, finally achieving his dream. However, this would be short-lived, as Angron would return to retake command of the Legion. However, Cossalax is crafty. He realized Angron didn't really care much for leading and would just sit in the bowels of the Conqueror and wait to arrive at a war zone, so he instead rebranded himself as Equerry to Angron, leading in his absence and using Angron to attract even more warriors. The last we see of Cossalax, he and his forces were led into a Grey Knight ambush, where he lost a massive chunk of his army, but he himself survived. I don't really imagine him living too much longer, but credit where credit is due. One does not simply become Legion Master of the World Eaters, even for a short time, without some massive balls. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then join Dice Dioramas. We are giving away the World Eater army this Sunday, and then it's balls deep into our next incredible diorama, which will probably be unveiled on Sunday. Hit the subscribe button, hit the real subscribe button for more world eating content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.